What's up to everybody who's new to the channel? Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Welcome to the channel for everybody who's back. I appreciate you guys coming back and catching more content. I hope that I'm giving you something like that's really, really valuable that like hopefully changes your life. So hopefully some of what I'm giving you is life changing. So and we're gonna try to stay with that same theme today that I'm gonna give you something that's good, something that's life changing, and something that could put you in the best financial position possible. Because how many, like if you watch my videos, I divide like the working class into two classes. There's the 90%, which when I do this, we're talking about the working class, but more importantly, we're talking about a money mindset. So the mindset is another way to say mindset is just simply programming, right? So I always divide like the working class into two categories, and it's going to be the 10%, and then it's going to be the 90%. I've been a part of the 90% for way too long. I know you guys feel the same way, where your life kind of looks like this, right? So here's the 90%, right? So, and again, I hope you guys are big enough to not get offended by what I'm doing. I'm actually, you're talking to a guy that was homeless, and not just homeless once, homeless multiple times, starting in high school. So came home one day. Uh, my mom had packed up and left. So I always say, we didn't run away from home. She went to start a new life and she left her kids behind. At the beginning, one day I'll have time to share my whole story. There's a lot of bad stuff in my past, a lot of stuff you wouldn't want your child to go through. And so, just to give you a look kind of behind the scenes, this is why I do what I do and why I go so hard. This is why I go so hard. I push these ideas. This is why I do everything in my power to share this with you, because even if you don't agree, and even if you don't go with it, if you don't rock with it, or if you have a different opinion, I just want to let you know, right? So I feel like we're best prepared to make the best decision when we have the most information. And I feel like for a lot of us, we get skewed information, and so our views become skewed. And it's only right. So whatever we believe is true, right? And it's not because it is true; it's because we believe it to be true. And so what I try to do is I try to come on here, and whenever I get a chance to do the live are the best. I enjoy them the most because I get to interact with you. Like even on this live, if you have a question or comment, you're welcome to drop it. If you appreciate this channel and you get value from it, smash the thumbs up. That helps me. I help you by just sharing some thoughts that I have. And so I hope that we become friends, we can become family. This is a middleman family. The reason for the channel being the middleman channel is because I have a middleman business, and my goal is to teach you how to start a business from your phone. Now, I know everybody's not going to do it. That's fine. Some people love their jobs. I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with jobs, unless, well, we're going to get into that. But we're not going to jump the gun. We're going to get into that. But I have to keep up with the time. But so I got a few minutes. But this is going to be special. This is going to bless you. It's not going to be one of my longer videos. It should be, because it's so much powerful information going to be in it. But again, if you guys get value from it, smash the thumbs up. If you don't mind, share the channel with as many people as you can so we can build it and let more people get this information. Also, the other thing is, if you have questions or comments, you're welcome to drop it. I'll try to get to it if I can. I can't always get to it like back to back, but if I see it, I'll respond to it. And if I don't respond to it, then you're probably posting something that's stupid, and you're probably wasting time. So I'll probably delete your stupid comment. And so but I know you guys don't do it, right? So just the 90% come in here and do stupid stuff, right? And so let's talk about it. The 9% to 10% is essentially money mindset. That's what I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about is, how are you programmed financially when it comes to money? And so typically, and I'll give you some typical things. Typically, when you see the money mindset, when you think about your money mindset, certain things people follow the 90%. Now, I don't want you to follow 90%. That's why you're here. You're not here by coincidence. It's not an accident you found this channel. Someone told me the other day, they were like, I wasn't even looking for anything like this, and it popped up, and I'm so blessed that I found it. And it's not me. I'm not special. That's special about me that you can't do. So I don't have some superpower that you don't have. No, we have the if we don't have the same exact abilities, we got abilities to achieve something greater than what we've already achieved. Is that fair? And so we're going to talk about that a little. So let's talk about money mindset. So, and again, money mindset is simply the way you think. So up here, what's your program? You think about a computer. Computers are programmed. You have a program in your subconscious. You don't even have to think about it. It automatically is programmed into you, and it automatically comes forward. So today we're going to talk about 3 things that I would never teach my kids about money that most of you either have or will. Now, I'm not mad at you because I didn't know either, but now that I know, I'm not going to do it. So I encourage you not to do it, or at least listen to it and then make your own decision. Is that fair enough? But real quick, when you think about money concept, the majority of people are going to be thinking a certain way. So I'm a big believer in not following the crowd. Is that okay? And because most people follow the crowds. I'm a big believer in not following the crowd. So if I see everybody going the same way, I'm gonna have questions. That's just me. I'm curious. I'm inquisitive. I'm gonna be like, what's going on back that way, right? And I want to know. Like, I'm very, very curious. And so with the 90%, most people do the same thing. So I'll write a couple things down, and you tell me if I'm right? So I could be wrong, but you let me know if. So with the 90%, most people will do this. Most people were taught, go to school. You can tell I didn't go to school long. I barely know how to spell it. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, invest in retirement or a 401k, and then save everything you can for retirement, and then save for rainy day and emergencies, and then try to plan for retirement. So this probably, you leave school 5, you try to leave here by 5. So in a 40-year span, you follow the rules of the 90%. And most people do. Most people follow the rules of the 90%. So let me ask you this. Does this look familiar to you? Has anyone told you to do this? Has anyone recommended that this is the right way, right? Now, let me ask you this. How many people you know here are living their best lives? How many people you know here are financially free, even millionaires, right? You could probably, if you know anyone, count on one hand. How many? How many people you know here have time freedom, lifestyle freedom, financial freedom? Not many. You know why? Because this thing controls everything. Without the job, no house, no 401k, no savings, no retirement. To me, that's too powerful. Not to mention that as soon as I come out of this thing, I'm negative 100k in bad debt, and that follows me around. Imagine that. And so the 90% is going to say, all right, let's try it. And then they're going to fail and then say, you try it, to their kids. And then their kids are going to say, didn't work for me. It didn't work for my mom or my dad. You try it. And then your kid is going to do the same thing. And then your kids' kids, your grandkids are going to say, it didn't work for my great-grandparents. It didn't work for my grandparents. Didn't work for my parents. Didn't work for me. You try it. And there we go, repeating the same cycle. Now, I know that some people do have success, but most people don't, right? These are the people that are middle class. This is where you get the middle class. And the middle class are the ones who are the highest taxes, who sell all of their time, their life for money, and the ones who are typically, in most cases, paycheck to paycheck, right? So this is not where you want to be. So you're probably going to teach your kids this. I'm going to teach my kids to go to school to get a good, secure job. Somebody asked me the other day, a parent, They were like, have you started saving? Now my son's 3, he'll be 4 coming up soon. Have you started saving? Have you guys started saving anything for college for Weston? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, thinking about that. I was like, look, I'm not going to teach my kids to go to college. If they want to, that's fine, but I'm not going to teach them to do that. I'm going to teach them to start a business, to get rich and enjoy life and be free. I'm not going to teach them the same system that failed me, that failed you. Why would I do that? And I certainly am not about to save up money to send them into this prison. I mean, this government indoctrination camp. I'm sorry, school. So why would I do that, right? So I have no intentions of saving money for my kids to go to school. That system failed you. You want to teach your kids that? I'm not going to teach my kids that, right? And so if this is what looks familiar, go to school, get a job, buy a house, 401k, save money, and try to retire, then if it didn't work for you, then why would you teach this to your kids? So I'm about to go over 3 things that I would never, ever teach my kids about finances and about money, because I know these things make them poor, right? So I would never teach my kids this. Why? Because I want them to be rich. I want them to be wealthy. So let's jump into it real quick. All right. So I would never teach my kids what you teach your kids. You teach your kids. And by the way, this money set is the 90%. This makes up the poor. Where can I put it? Let's put it right here. This makes up the poor and the middle class. I hope you guys can see that. And this 10% makes up the rich and the wealthy. Which one would you rather be a part of? Exactly. So do I. All right, so let's go real quick. I wish they taught this in college. I wish they taught this in high schools. Our kids would be millionaires in 5-10 years after leaving school. Unfortunately, a lot of them are in struggle positions. And that's because of what they haven't learned, right? So we do a great job of indoctrinating them, but we're giving them bad money principles. All right, so let's walk through it real quick. Things I would that you would probably teach your kids. I can even do more than 3, but I'll just. By the way, the rich and the wealthy do not believe that time equals money. They believe money equals time. Whereas the poor and the middle class, they believe if you want to get more money, you sell your time. The rich and the wealthy believe if you want to get more time, you make money to buy your time. Sell your time, buy your time. The rich and the wealthy. That's a money mindset difference. You guys, how do you make more money? I talked to someone the other day, very nice, very sweetheart. And I was like, she was like, I'm not making enough at work. I was like, what are you going to do? She was like, I guess I got to find another job. See, the 90%, we all think the same, but I'm not like fussing at her or whatever, like, because she doesn't know. And so I politely said, hey, just find a side hustle. Find something you can do from your phone to make money so you don't have to pick up another job. She was like, I never thought of that. See, a lot of times we've just never been told. So I'm here to tell you so you can tell somebody else. Let me serve you and then you serve others. Is that okay? So that's what we'll do. By the way, if you want to get into the Middleman live workshop training, I teach you 3 things. I teach you how to use your phone to book customers for other companies, take a deposit that goes into your account. On average, I want you to take about $150 per deposit. And then I want you to dispatch the work. I mean, send the work to someone else. They do the work, not you. So you choose an industry. I'm in 2 industries. I'm in the moving and the cleaning industry. So I book customers that need moving done and that need their home cleans. And I partner with ISPs, independent service professionals, who actually do that, not me. And then I take a deposit that goes into my account. I book the customer, take a deposit, dispatch the work to them, same way Uber does. When Uber finds a rider who needs a ride, and then they find a driver who's willing to drive them around. Uber doesn't drive you around, someone else does. And then Uber gets paid in the gap for the connection. They get paid right there. So they find a rider, connect the rider to the driver, and then they get paid for doing it. That's middlemaning. Uber's a middleman company. Airbnb is a middleman company. They don't own anything. They just connect people who are willing to do what's needed. We do the same thing. We don't do the work. We connect you to someone who's willing to do the work. We just find the customer, and we only use our phone to do it. It's very simple, very easy. If you want to learn how to do it, put this word middleman in the comments under any of the videos to get an invite. We are limited on how many people we're going to let in, so just move quickly. Or you could go into the video description below of any of the videos and get the Zoom invite. Please don't miss it. It's not, it's so long. I noticed dive into it really quickly, and then I'll get out of your way and let you finish your lunch, because you have to be back at work because you're not listening to what I'm teaching you, right? If you were, you would be thinking about your future and not as concerned about being at work or being on time after lunch, right? So by the way, if you don't have alarms in the house, you get to live a free life. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So here we go. So the 90% believe that time equals money, whereas the 10% believe that money equals time. The 90% believe that you use your time like a currency to buy money. So you trade your time for money. And 10% believe that time is the most valuable currency and you trade money for time. Make sense? So this is freedom and this is not. All right, so let's dive into it really quickly. So 3 things that I teach my kids that I teach my kids, or that I won't teach my kids, and then I'll show you what I will teach my kids. That fair? All right, by the way, if you have a question or comment, drop it, smash the thumbs up. That way I know you got some value from this channel. And if you, again, comment, question, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, put middleman in the comments, or just go in the video description to get the link, and then I'll see you in the live training. All right, but for now, let's do this. All right, so let's talk about it. All right, so number 1, the poor and the middle class, you're going to teach your kids this. You're going to teach your kids to buy houses, to buy a house, right? And I actually want to add something else to that. All right, so you're going to want to teach here's what you're going to teach your kids. Well, let's say it this way. This is what you were going to teach your kids until you met this crazy fellow in a pink hat on YouTube telling you, don't teach your kids. But this is what most of you will. You're going to teach your kids to buy houses, to buy a house with this thing called a paycheck. That's what you're going to teach your kids. You're going to teach your kids to get a job, save up money for a down payment, use that paycheck to qualify to buy a house, and then pay for that house for 30 years. Does that sound like freedom? Nope. All right, you're going to teach your kids that, to buy a house with a paycheck. Whereas the 10%, which I believe I'm a part of now, because again, it's not about money to be the 10%. It's about how you think. The 10% is going to think in this column. The 90%, mostly everybody's going to think in this column. So the 10% is going to tell their kids, don't buy a house with a paycheck. Don't buy a house. I'll just put paycheck. They're going to teach their kids, do not buy a house with a paycheck. Right? So the 90% is going to teach their kids to buy houses with paychecks. Put them in a 30-year prison sentence, because the mortgage is 30 years, and the only way your kid is going to know how to make money is with a job. So that means they have to keep a job for 30 years to pay the mortgage, or they lose the house. That's a hard way to live. I would never recommend that for my kids. So again, you were probably at first, before you watch this video, going to teach your kids to buy houses with paychecks from jobs. Now, since you watch this crazy guy in a pink hat on YouTube, you're going to say, hey, don't buy houses with paychecks. See, you've already converted to the 10%, right? And so that's a big deal, because we don't want to put our kids in financial purgatory for 30 years. You know anybody who's got a mortgage for 30 years? You probably do. How does it feel to know you have to pay for it or have a paycheck every month for 30 years, 360 paychecks? You don't like that, huh? No one does, right? I'm just the first to admit it, right? What else am I not going to teach my kids that most people will? You're going to teach your kids, 9%, to save money in the bank. Ooh, I know you guys are mad about that, because you love to have your emergency accounts. You love to have your rainy day accounts. Let me ask you something anyway, really quickly. When was the last time you had a $5,000 emergency or rainy day? What about a $10,000 emergency or rainy day? What about a $1,000 emergency or rainy day? Not having them much, huh? And I certainly would manifest it, right? But what if I can convince you to dump your rainy day accounts and have an opportunity account, right? So you're going to teach your kids to save money in banks. That's what the 90% is going to do, put them in financial prison. I'm not going to teach my kids that. Well, you were, but you're not now, right? Because you listen to the random guy in a pink hat on YouTube. From now on, you're not going to teach your kids to save money in banks because you know that banks pay 0% interest and money in a bank is dead. The banks use it to get wealthy. You use it to stay poor because I don't care how much money you have in a bank. If you don't use it, it's zero. You can come, one guy commented, he was like, I got $100,000 in the bank. I was like, for what? Why would you sit on that? That money could be, you could be using that money to do something to change your life and create passive income. But I mean, the banks are doing it, yet you don't use it to make money. How smart, right? So you're going to teach your kids to save money in banks, and the rich and the wealthy is going to say, hey, don't save money in banks. Do what banks do. Do what the banks do. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, see, not long ago, I would have taught my kid to save money in banks. Hey, you get some extra cash, son? Go put that money in the bank. Ren's only one. Renly's only one. So she's not going to put money in the bank. She would probably at one, let's see. She'd probably trade it for a sucker, or she would try to eat the money. So either way is not good right now. So, but my son Wes, he knows a little bit about money. He just doesn't like to spend his own. So save money in banks. That's what the poor and the middle class is going to teach their kids. And the 10% is going to teach their kids, the rich and the wealthy, are those, and again, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about mindset. When I say poor and middle class, I'm talking about it here. When I say rich and wealthy, I'm talking about how you think, your programming, your subconscious, right? So the rich and wealthy is going to teach their kids, do what banks do. Well, what do banks do? Well, when you put money in the bank, I'll show you real quick. When you put money into a bank, so your money goes into the bank, we'll call that the bank, right? It becomes a liability to the bank, right? Because even though they pretty much pay zero interest, some accounts have interest. So it's a liability to the banks, AL for liability. So the banks have to get rid of the money in order to make money to pay whatever interest they owe to anyone. But for most people, 0% interest, right? Unless you have a significant amount of money and the banks need it. So the bank's going to take your money, loan it out to someone with a good credit score and a vision and a dream, and then the bank's going to loan it out, make money on the interest payments, pay you 0%, and then they're going to, I'll put R for repeat. They're going to repeat the process. So that's why I keep telling you, look, okay, if you put 100K in the bank, okay, let's just say 10K. Look at what the banks are going to do with it. They're going to use your money to make more money. And I'm not going to get into fractional reserving because you'll really, really be disappointed. You'll really be sad and frustrated. And when you see how you're getting taken advantage of. But the banks will use your money ultimately to make more money. Well, if your money sits in a bank in a savings account that pays zero interest, my question is, what is the money doing for you? And if you want to be honest, and I know you guys are, you have to answer truthfully and say, nothing. Money's not doing anything for me. It's making the bank rich. It's not doing anything for me. And so you don't want to be in that situation. All right, so that's two things. You're going to teach your kids to buy a house with a paycheck. I'm going to teach my kids to not buy a house with a paycheck. And I could even change it and say, I could take it to another level. Because I didn't really want to get into the entrepreneur side, but I could take it to another level. Say, you're going to teach your kids to buy a house with a paycheck. I'm going to teach my kids to buy a house with, should have put just the W, cash flow from a business. Cash flow, paycheck. One's freedom, one's prison. Right? Save money in banks. or do what banks do. We'll just put do. We'll just underline do. Do what the banks do. You tell me. You want to save money or you want to use money? Which one would you prefer? All right, so let's talk about the last one. And this list could go on and on, but I hope you're getting some value from this. If you are, you're welcome to drop a question or comment. You're welcome to hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, and let me know. And the last thing I'm going to teach you, don't ever forget this. These are things you're going to teach your kids. If you stay in the 90% bracket, you're free to move. You're free to move, right? You know, when the airline gets to a certain height and the seatbelt thing comes off and it says, now you can move about the cabin. Well, if you learn this, you can move from the 90% to the 10%, from the struggle lane to living your best life, to the freedom lane, right? So the last one, you guys are going to teach your kids that there's such thing as a safe, secure job, so they don't have to worry about anything. They can just focus on keeping that job, doing a great job, and having one income source. That, to me, very dangerous, because here's what I know. If you haven't been paying attention, layoffs have been happening all around the country. Well, who's getting laid off? CEOs? No. Business owners? No. Employees? You got it. So you guys, the 10%, the 90%, you're the ones at risk. Yet the job that failed you, or the job system that failed you, you're going to teach it to your kids. So you're going to teach your kids. I'm predicting the future. The 90% are going to teach their kids to buy houses with paychecks they get from a job. The 90% are going to teach their kids, if you have any extra money, put that thing into a savings account. The 90% are going to teach their kids, hey, if you got a good, safe, secure job, that's good. Keep that job as long as you can. Don't worry about anything else. Try to keep that job. Try to get a raise. Try to get a promotion. Try to get tips, whatever you can get. But go ahead and keep that one source of income. Right? Paycheck, save, one income. Ouch. Whereas the rich and the wealthy, the 10% mindset-wise, they're going to teach their kids multiple income. I'm not going to write out streams, but multiple income streams. Multiple. In fact, sounds like I'm mixing. Use money like banks do. Now, let's look at this. Let's do a review. You guys like school? Let's do a review. Pop quiz. All right. Pop quiz. If I'm the 90%, what am I going to teach? If I think like the poor and the middle class, what am I going to teach my kids? What am I likely to teach my kids about money? Right? How am I thinking when it comes to money? And my kids grow up, they want to learn about money. What am I passing down to them? What mindset am I sharing with them? Here it is. More than likely, not you guys, because before you watch this video, you would, but now you're that 10%. So this isn't for you anymore. It's for somebody you know. All right. So you can share this with them. Just invite them to the channel, share the video. Just click share down below. You can send this video directly to them. Please help them learn. Okay. So you're going to teach your kids 90% to buy houses with paychecks. Ouch. You're going to teach your kids to save money in banks. Save. Focus on saving. Rainy day, emergencies. You're going to teach your kids, hey, if you have a job that's safe, secure, focus on that one source of income. Don't worry about any other job. Full time, try to get that promotion, try to get that bonus. One income, you're good. Whereas the rich and the wealthy mindset, the 10% mindset is going to come over here and say, I don't think so. I'm not going to teach my kids to buy a house with a paycheck. Notice I'm not against buying houses. I'm just against buying a house with a paycheck. I'm going to teach my kids to buy a house with cash flow, which is money flowing from a business. You create a business. That business starts making money. That money is called cash flow. And then you use the cash flow to buy the house or any other liability. You can have the toys, nothing wrong with that. Just don't do it with your paycheck, right? You can do it this way. Start a business, use cash flow, buy a house. Is that fair? All right. So you're also going to teach your kids to save money in banks, whereas the rich and wealthy, the 10%, is going to teach their kids to use money that's in the bank. Save money in the banks, use money that's in the banks. Do what your mom and dad did, do what the banks do. What do you think? And then the very last one, you're going to teach your kids one income source is okay. And the 10% is going to teach their kids one income source is never safe. You can get off, anything can happen. It does not have to be your fault. A lot of times it can be out of your control. If all of your bills are paid by your paycheck and you lose that paycheck, your whole entire life's going to flip upside down. Ask me, I know. That's how I ended up homeless. You don't want to end up homeless, trust me. It ain't cute. I don't care what they show you on TV and the minivans, and they're lying. It ain't fun. Ask anybody who's ever been out there. If you see somebody that's out there and you see a vehicle and you see kids in it and you see all of their clothes piled in the back, they can't even see out the back window. That's because they can only carry in that car what can fit in that car. That means their furniture has been left behind, their beds has been left behind, their television's left behind, their sofa's been left behind, their cabinets have been left behind, their refrigerator, washer, dryer. Anything that cannot fit in that car has been left behind. A bunch of their clothes left behind. The baby's swing left behind. All of those things, the chairs, the table, all of those things, the pots and pans, all left behind. You know how I know? Because I've been out there. And when I see somebody pass by, or I pass by a car and I see certain things in it, it breaks my heart because I know these people are homeless. And what really kills me is when I see car seats. That crushes me. I've seen that. That crushes me. When I see a family and then I see a car seat, that's a terrible, terrible feeling. And it ain't even my family, but my heart goes out to them. And I'm looking around like, where are they? Can I at least just buy them some food to take some pressure off of them, give them some money to do that? And I've done things, and I don't video it or stuff like that. I have my opinions about that, but what I do between me and the Lord. But if He blesses me, I get the opportunity to bless somebody, let's go. What are we waiting on? Right? My wife sees it. That's all I care about. The good Lord sees it. That's it. He gave it to me. It's His anyway. He told me to give it to you. I'm giving it to you. It ain't mine. So, but you don't want to be in a situation. So sorry about that, but I get emotional thinking about that because fun. You don't want to know about that. Stop letting people lie to you and tell you that's cool and getting videos and getting all these views because they're living in their trucks, living in their vans. That's a hard, hard life. So please don't let these people fool you, lie to you, fluff you, and have you believe in that if you have to take a step backwards, that's okay. Listen to me. You don't want to go backwards in this life. It's hard enough where you are. Just to hold your position, just to hold post. So please don't ever get into the step back. You never want to do that. If life happens and you have to sacrifice, then listen, life's going to happen. Those things are out of your control. And you just do what's best at the moment to put yourself in the best position to get back on your feet. But you definitely don't want to be manifesting that stuff. That's why I don't have an emergency account. That's why I don't have what's the other one called? A rainy day account. You know why? Because I don't want to manifest rainy days and I don't want to manifest emergencies. I don't want that. Life is going to give you enough rainy days and emergencies all of its own. I'm not about to ask for some. I don't want them. You know what I'm looking for with my savings account? Opportunity. I don't have a savings account. I have an opportunity account. I'm looking for somewhere to put money to make money. Remember, number 2, use money. Do what the banks do. Man, I hope y'all shared this video because I know there's a million people out there who could watch this and go from the 90% to the 10%, but I can't reach everybody. I need your help. So if you don't mind, help me. Smash thumbs up. Hit subscribe. That's how you help me. Leave a comment. Share the video with someone else. Put the link on your Facebook page. Put it on your Instagram. Send it to a friend. Whatever you got to do. This is too important. You think we're in hard times now? Watch what happens next. You don't want to find out. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. The government has tried everything to lower inflation. They cannot do it. We're in trouble. You're in trouble if you don't change the way you think about your finances. My advice, use these 3 ideas. You don't have to do them. Just look at them, be open-minded, and say, all right, let me look at it from both perspectives. Let me see. Okay, this makes sense. Maybe I can use this. Or you might look at it and say, nah, I don't like it. I'm going to stick with the 90%. I don't encourage that, but it's up to you. Right? So one income, very dangerous. You're going to teach your kids that. If I wanted my kids to be poor and struggle through life, this is what I would teach them. If I do that, then I'm going to teach them how to think like the rich and wealthy, how to have a mindset of the rich and wealthy, not the poor middle class. If you're over here rich and wealthy and something happens and you have to take a step backward, you're still ahead of these, the 90%. The 90%, they go backwards, they go off the cliff. The 10%, they go backwards, they can just regather and move forward again. But the 90%, you don't have much. Hope it doesn't happen, but it's possible. So if you want to learn and make money, it means I don't have to be anywhere. That's freedom. I told you, I love freedom more than I love money. You thought I love money a lot. No, I love freedom. I love being able to do what I want to do with my time. I realize money is important. Yeah, I can eat nice things and take trips and whatever. But you know what's more important? Being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Because I don't always need money to live the life I want to live. I might just want to go fish all day. That costs me $5. So again, I can go to work, make $100 in that day and not get to do what I want to do. I much rather do what I want to do. So again, if I was poor, and again, guys, this is just a money mindset. And I'm just showing you the poor and middle class all think alike, and the rich and wealthy, they think differently. And I'm showing you that if I wanted my kids to be poor, this is what I would teach them. I would simply teach them to get a good job, buy a house with a paycheck. I would simply teach them to save money in their banks for emergency days and rainy days, like you say, right? And then I would teach them, hey, all you need is one source of income, get that job, keep that job, try to move up in the company and get a raise. Ouch. But since I'm not going to teach my kids that because it failed me and it probably failed you, and I'm not going to teach my kids this because I want them to succeed. You know who I love more than me? My kids, my wife, my family. I love them more than me, right? I die for them. I ain't dying for you. I wish you the best, but I ain't dying for you, right? So, but it's possible. Then it says, but just think about humanity, and yet Christ died for you. And none of us are good. None of us, even the goodest of us, are good. Bad grammar, good teaching. So thank God for his grace. So here we go. By the way, I was talking to one of my students earlier, and he said he was blessed to find this content, blessed to find the masterclass, blessed to be able to start a business because he was burning out. One day I'll bring him on and let him tell you. I should have recorded it, but I do live trainings with my students so we can keep working on the business because my goal is for you to succeed. That's my goal. And when you hit $1 million a year, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. I don't care. Come back, tell me, and let's share it with everybody. That's good news, right? And he was telling me, it's like, man, it was a blessing. I found your channel. I was looking for something. I was praying for something. And he was like, man, that thing is worth so much because the course is not expensive. But anyway, I want you guys to learn. But it's not words. And one day I'll probably have him on so he can share it with you. And so, but you're going to teach your kids to buy a house with a paycheck? I'm not. Well, let me say it this way. You were going to teach your kids, before watching this video, this was you. You were going to teach your kids how to buy a house with a paycheck. Now, after watching this video, you're going to teach your kids cash flow from a business. Get a job to buy a house, start a business to buy a house. Hello. Before watching this video, you were going to teach your kids to save extra money in banks. You put it in a graveyard. That's the bank. The money does nothing for you. Makes the bank rich. It does nothing for you. So you're not going to teach your kids to save money. You're going to teach your kids to use money. See the vocabulary changing? The thought process? All right. You before watching this video, you were going to teach your kids one income is fine. keep that safe, secure job, move up, get a promotion, get a pay raise, try to retire. You're not going to teach your kids that anymore. From now on, you're going to teach your kids you need multiple sources of income in case something happens to one income source. You are not going to lose everything. You will not be homeless like I was. All right. So hope you guys got this. If you want to learn how to start a middleman business using your phone, only your phone, and you don't have to do any of the hard work, you simply use your phone to book customers, just like Uber does, just like Airbnb does. You match the customer with a business who does the work. For instance, if someone needs their house cleaned, you don't do it. The customer reaches out to you, asks for a quote, you give them a quote, you book the customer, you take a deposit from the customer, that $100, $125, $150 go into your account, and then you send the work to someone who actually does the cleaning. There's a bunch of different industries you could choose from. I'll walk you through all of that. If you want to learn that, make sure to put middleman in the comments below under any of the videos, or simply go in the video description below and get an invite. So it's going to be coming up soon. And just let me tell you, get there early. Please do, because I only let a certain amount of people in. And the reason I do, it's a couple reasons, because I like to do Q&A. And one time we had too many people, I was missing questions. And the other thing is I give something really nice. It's a blessing. I hope none of the students gave it away, but it's going to be something for you. Somebody. So if you guys want to get into it, I'm about to close this video out. All I ask of you, because I'll do free training for you. I just ask one thing of you. A couple things. You get there early and you share the invite with as many people as you can. Depends on how many you let in. And then third thing, you share this channel, subscribe, hit thumbs up, share this channel with everybody you know. All right, I know that was like 9 things, but don't worry about it. I went to public school. I don't count as well as you might think, okay? So, all right, guys, I got to go. Put middleman in the comments on any of the videos, or simply just go into the description, copy and paste the Zoom link, and I'll see you in the live training. So see you guys in live training. Have a wonderful, blessed day. And I hope you guys got this. I hope it blesses your life and changes your life. Let me teach you how to start your own middleman business. And eventually, when I finish with you, you'll be working 1 hour a week. That's all I do. My friends, work 1 hour a week. And remember, I don't have to leave the house to do it. All right, whoever put middleman down below, make sure you put it under the comments of this video or go into the video